What is up, everyone? Welcome to the UnderDog Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Nolan skiing alongside Antonio Fiore and Sal Estrina. Episode
guys?
2.
How are we?
How are we?
Not bad. I'm great.
All right. So we're going to cover a little NFL, a little MLB action. We'll get to our picks at the end, towards the end.
Team of Destiny, Washington Nationals.
And the Team of Destiny, Washington Nationals. So where should we start? Should we start with football?
Yeah, we'll recap football from last
We'll start
week.
with football. What's going on with Dallas?
I don't know, but I love it. I'm a huge fan of what's going on with Dallas right now.
I bet you are.
I mean,
I think they missed Amari.
Definitely.
I think
When
Amari
that went out,
that game, that was...
I mean, they made a little comeback push at the end, and they kind of figured things out. And you know what? They went back to kind of Zeke heavy.
Their offensive play calling hasn't been as good as the first 3 weeks. I think they kind of got away from themselves.
But they also stopped playing piss teams. I mean, you can argue whether the Jets were a piss team or not.
Jets with Sam Darnold.
But Sam Darnold obviously elevates them a lot.
I think because you look at the past 2 games, both games, they started so bad.
That's
Dallas
right.
did.
If you want to point a finger at anyone, you point a finger at Jason Garrett, though. Jason Garrett does not have his team.
Oh, of course. Did you
ready
see
to
the
play.
players walking off the sideline?
Went to go high five him, just didn't
even look
high-five.
at him. Didn't acknowledge him.
No, I know. Just like Jason, you got to get your team ready, dude. Like, it's not that hard. You're playing a fucking football game. Like,
And I really think they overlooked the Jets. And maybe they were too focused on maybe Philly this upcoming weekend.
I think they're going to come out buzzing for this game at home Sunday Night Football. They're going to be ready to play. But this Jets game was a really black mark on their season.
Disaster.
I also think that Gallup needs to take a step up when Cooper's out, too. Because I don't think Gallup dropped 2 passes and he had a third one go through his hands.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gallup played really good within the first 3 weeks of the season, especially when, they were winning. When Cooper was there, and Cooper was getting a lot of attention. Cooper was getting 130 yards a game, and then Gallup was getting around like 80 to 102.
Cooper takes the pressure off him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think Gallup needs to step up, especially if Cooper's out this week.
Is he definitely out this week?
They haven't said definitively, but they said it's really up in the
Yeah.
air as to whether he's playing. So they don't know yet.
And
It's a good matchup.
That hurts Dallas too, because
Amari's
what you're taking advantage
has a
of.
big matchup if he comes back, though.
Yeah, what you're taking advantage of with the Eagles is that secondary,
Which is awful.
Exactly.
so
and if you
bad.
don't have
Amari
Amari,
would be
you
so
got
good.
Amari, you're gonna throttle them. No Amari, you gotta still have things to figure out.
Which is what I said last week, too. I said Kirk Cousins is going to throw all over that secondary. I don't think that there's any.
That's what happened.
And Stephon Diggs went absolutely off.
And I think the Vikings are gonna start rolling too.
I
They
think
might have that fire.
I think Kirk Cousins has a little confidence now after these 2 games, especially beating Philly. It's all going to come down to when they play a good team in prime time.
But that's when he lets you down the most.
Correct.
Is when you think he has the most confidence, and then he comes out and shits his pants again.
So you guys were impressed with him, obviously.
I was impressed, but I know that it's still Kirk Cousins.
He's always going to let you down in the end.
Yeah, it's...
We're not talking about him here like he's gonna end up being some kind of crazy quarterback the rest of the season.
Yeah, I definitely think they make the playoffs, but they can't win with him. Do you think Kirk Cousins can win a Super Bowl?
No,
Me neither.
I don't.
I don't think.
Do you think the Vikings
I don't
thought
even think
that
he
when
can
they
get
were
to an
getting
NF
him?
I think they did. You don't give a quarterback that much money if you don't think that.
I just can't believe that.
I think it was a egregious decision. I mean, they had Case Keenum take them to an NFC Championship game. Mind you, yes, Case Keenum sucks now, but he led you to an NFC Championship game.
You got to think about how much they paid Case Keenum compared to Kirk Cousins too. They were paying Case Keenum like $5 million a year compared to now they paid.
Yeah,
Kirk
and then
Cousins
they kicked him to the curb, and then they go and pay Kirk Cousins
and they go 8-7-1. They don't
It's
get to the
just-
playoffs.
And that's one of the more talented rosters in the NFL too.
Oh, absolutely.
We can't even.
Defense is good. It's been good every
And
year
he's
for the
The
past
only
like,
problem,
5 years.
the only problem you could say with that team is their offensive line, and other than that, there's not really many holes. And they drafted 2 offensive linemen this year.
Yeah, and
so-
even with like the offensive line, the offense was still good. Adam Thielen balled out the last 2 years, especially last year.
And you have Stephon Diggs and Kyle Rudolph.
Yep.
Like, you have talent all over that roster. I mean, I don't know. I think they should be way better than they are, and if they start catching fire, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, they're 4-2. They're in a decent position. It's just NFC is insanely loaded, so I wouldn't guarantee a playoff spot for them right now.
Well, out of the North, you have who are your playoff teams out of the North? Probably them and Green Bay.
Bears still got a shot. They still have a ridiculous defense. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears get back.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know that Mitchell Trubisky is leading you to the playoffs. I think at some point he's gonna have to start throwing during the season.
He's a pussy, dude. He is the boss at hyping up all the Chicago fans, and then they come out, and then like 3 games in, he's like, "Oh, my pussy hurts."
Yep.
I just don't understand how they can.
Chase Daniels comes in.
I don't understand how they cannot realize how good of a quarterback either Watson or Mahomes was, and then they end up taking Trubisky over him. That is just so egregious.
Do agree.
They weren't talking about that draft when it came to quarterbacks like it was some crazy quarterback draft either. But like Mahomes, everyone was watching Texas A&M because they weren't, or Texas Tech. My bad. No one was watching Texas Tech because they weren't a ranked team. They weren't like the spotlight. Mahomes was still making ridiculous throws, but his decision making was still kind of in college, and he got the NFL and. Obviously, that panned out.
Everyone was saying that Watson was the best quarterback in that draft, though, or at least most analysts were saying that. And then out of nowhere, they just decided to take this no-name Mitchell Trubisky from North Carolina. To this day, I still don't understand that.